Good afternoon, everyone. Icy situation continued to develop out there across the Concho Valley for the early morning hours later tonight. 29 degrees by 2 o'clock, 27 by 6 o'clock, 28 and freezing precipitation in the area. More on the weather coming up in just a bit. In the meantime, Ksan News at 5 starts right now. Okay. Paul and Mo with a tease to forecast. Welcome back, everyone. Pollen mold count numbers have definitely come down today. Yesterday, we were way up there at 6.9 in the medium range. Today, 4.5. Look at what happens into tomorrow. We're expecting more precipitation to move in. 0.9 will be what we're at. And we're talking, of course, mainly juniper into the atmosphere, but not too much of a factor. We're going to see some icy conditions continue to develop out there across the Concho Valley. For tomorrow, 30 for the afternoon high, 70% chance of that wintry mix. A cold and raw day all the way around. Slight winds from the northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Then for the evening hours, we're going to see the temperatures drop down to 27 degrees. 90% chance of that mix continuing throughout the nighttime. Ice will accumulate. We have to be careful. About a quarter to half inch possible. Northeast winds at 10 miles per hour. More on the weather coming up in just a bit. In the meantime, back to Isabel with more news. All right, full weather. Okay, full weather. Give you 3 on the clock with a toss to break. Welcome back, everyone, on this 30th day of January, making our way over toward Tuesday, and definitely, hopefully looking for an improvement, but unfortunately, we're not going to see much of anything going on out there. We're going to continue to see those freezing precipitation chances, probably more on the increase as we go throughout the afternoon hours tomorrow. 27 to start your morning off. 27 is what we stay at around 10 o'clock, and then it becomes very evident that we're not going to see a rise in temperatures tomorrow. In fact, the precipitation will begin to increase, become more area-wide tomorrow. 28 degrees by the latter part of the afternoon into 2 o'clock, and then still not looking for any precipitation relief out there. About a tenth to a quarter of an inch of precipitation possible. And then by 4 o'clock, 30 degrees is what we top off at. Here is what we have going on with our temperatures over the next several days to come. We're actually going to see things on the increase. Now, we're seeing today pretty close to near 30 degrees. Tomorrow, more 30-degree weather headed our way. But these 2 days here, today and tomorrow, looking very icy. And then possibly the first part of Wednesday, as those temperatures are below freezing and warm up to about 37. And then over on Thursday, 49 degrees and still a few showers in the area. And then 57 is when we actually start to see some sunshine as we make our way in toward Friday. Now, as we check and see what's going on now with our weather headlines, we are going to continue to see some very cold temperatures across the entire area, and the opportunities for freezing rain Tuesday and Wednesday are going to continue. Below freezing is definitely the norm out here across West Texas for the next several days, and we do see some improvements that will happen by the weekend. Now, our wind speeds, they're going to continue to become very gusty out there throughout the afternoon hours. Keep in mind, anytime you have cold temperatures and those winds, you have low wind chills. So these wind chills are going to drop a lot more throughout the rest of tonight and into tomorrow, particularly as we get that storm system get closer to us and funnel some of that energy in. So here today, we did see them up and around the 10 to 15 mile per hour range. But as we look forward over the next several days, they're going to continue to be strong out there and quite breezy. As we check the big picture, off to the west, there's that low pressure system that will move off to the east, and as it does, it will eject energy, bringing the impulses into our area and hopefully bringing us some precipitation. Unfortunately, most of that is going to be in the frozen variety. As we look over to the east, most of the problems exist down toward the southeast, although most of that is in the form of rainfall and not too much in the form of any freezing precipitation. So for tonight, we're going to see the lower to mid 20s for most of the Concho Valley. Warming up tomorrow, well, probably not that. In fact, we're going to keep temperatures pretty constant throughout the period and then into tomorrow night. There you see some of that precip moving on out of the picture, but as we go into tomorrow, more begins to develop, and we're looking for some big-time pockets to show up out here and definite ice accumulations to occur across the entire Concho Valley. Here's what we have for tonight. 27 for the overnight low. Pockets of precipitation developing. 30 for tomorrow. 70% chance of freezing rain, and it will be very cold. As we check that 5 to 7 day forecast, we're actually going to show you no fire dangers there. In fact, we are actually looking for Groundhog Day to roll around on Thursday. It'd be nice to light that fire. You're going to need it because it's going to be very cold out there, with precipitation continuing through Wednesday and into Thursday in the form of rain and then clearing toward the weekend. We're going to have more weather and news after the break with Isabel, so stay tuned. Okay, sorry about that little symbol. I'll take that out here in a second. Let's wrap this up. Final check of that 7 day forecast. We're showing you that 70% chance of freezing precipitation tomorrow. Again, pay very close attention to what those conditions are like because it's going to be very icy. 90% into Wednesday. Temperatures do warm up. Some of this will be in the form of rain by late afternoon. Then on Thursday, more chances of showers with a high of 49, 40% there. And then into 63 degrees by Saturday with more sunshine and more to look forward to in warm weather next week. That's the weather. Isabel, back to you. All right, so let's take a couple of things out here. And let's do this. Okay, that's done. Put the logo in, we're in. And then I wanted to change our headlines right here. Okay, that's fixed. And then right here, there's a spacing issue. Right here. There we go. All right. Here we go. Good evening, everyone. Messy situation shaping up out there across the Concho Valley tonight as we start to see precipitation on the increase. 29 degrees by 2 o'clock, 27 by the latter part of the night into the early morning hours. And then by first part of tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock, 28 degrees and more precipitation to talk about. More on the weather coming up in just a bit. In the meantime, Ksan News at 6 starts right now. Okay. Pollen mold, here we go. Here's a check at that allergen outlook for the Concho Valley. 6.9 yesterday, pretty high number. We came down today to 4.5. Lots of cloud cover, precipitation in the form of drizzle. Tomorrow the precip picks up even more. We're going to see those readings drop down to 0.9 with juniper into the atmosphere. Now these readings are actually going to stay fairly low throughout the rest of this week as we continue to see some cold temperatures and chances of precipitation. How does that extended forecast look? More on that in just a bit. Back to Isabel with more news. Okay, full weather, 3 minutes with a toss to break. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Wrapping up this 30th day of January and making our way closer to February into Tuesday. And it is going to be a messy day out there for tomorrow. We're going to see freezing precipitation all across the entire Concho Valley. By 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, checking out those temperatures right at 27 degrees. 10 o'clock in the morning, we warm it up to about 27. Lots of precipitation still around, and I'm afraid it's going to increase throughout the day, causing all sorts of travel issues. So make sure you allow plenty of distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Allow also plenty of distance, or time rather, to reach your destination, because it could be very icy for the remainder of the day tomorrow. 28 as we head toward the latter part of the day, and guess what? We stay there pretty much throughout the entire afternoon hours, with more freezing precipitation possible in the form of freezing rain. 30 degrees by 4 o'clock, and we're still talking more of that precipitation. We're still talking precipitation throughout a lot of portions of this week. As we continue to move on, we're going to show you today very icy situation out there, although today more along the lines of drizzle. For tomorrow, we're going to see it increase even more. 70% chance, and we're actually going to see more accumulations that will occur out there. And then into Wednesday, hopefully we see some of that begin to melt off latter part of the day, although the first part of it will be a little bit tricky and dicey as we are on our way to school and work, with that 90% chance of freezing precipitation early turning over to rain. And then 49 degrees by Thursday, with showers early on getting out of the picture, and then warming up to 57 degrees by Friday. So definite improvement out there. There is some light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to hang loose and hopefully be able to cooperate with the weather for the rest of this week. As we check and see what's happening with our weather headlines, we're going to see a very cold for the rest of this week. Freezing rain Tuesday and Wednesday will be the main threat. Keep in mind, of course, all the travel problems that's going to pose, and how you maybe need to make some adjustments along the way. Also below normal, below freezing the norm throughout the entire period pretty much until you get to about Wednesday. We see those temperatures actually warm up a little bit more, and then more of an improvement with sunnier conditions as we make our way in towards Saturday and Sunday. Big picture for wind speeds. These are actually going to continue to pick up throughout the rest of the afternoon. Anytime you get cold temperatures and a little bit of wind out there, it's going to drive that temperature down to exposed skin even more. So be careful. You bundle up out there. Take care, because it will be a cold one. And then, of course, the big picture. There's that low pressure system will continue to march over to the east, and as it does, bringing with it some areas of precipitation, and certainly it will be freezing, and it will be cold enough to support some ice across the area. Temperatures don't warm up much. Futurecast showing you some of the precip into tomorrow, becoming more on the heavier side as we go throughout these last few frames here and showing you what happens into tomorrow. So we're going to have to be very cognizant and careful of that for the morning and afternoon tomorrow. 27 for tonight. Very cold out there. Precipitation developing late. 30 into tomorrow with that freezing rain chance at about 70%. And then here's a check at that 5 to 7 day forecast. Temperatures do warm up into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with more sunshine headed our way. That's the weather. Isabel will be back with more news after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Quick check at that 7-day forecast. 70% chance of freezing precipitation tomorrow. On Wednesday, some of that will start off as freezing precip and then change over to rain by late afternoon. 90% there. 40% chance on Groundhog Day. We have got a soaked groundhog out there. 49 for a high. 57 on Friday. 63 on Saturday. And then things warming up as we head in towards Sunday and the first part of next week. That's the weather. Isabel, back to you. Okay, let's do 10. All right, 10 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. Icy situation out there across the Concho Valley into tonight. We're going to see precipitation more on the increase toward morning. 29 by 2 o'clock, clouds in the area. 27, precipitation starts to get going by 6 o'clock, and then by 10 o'clock, more precipitation to talk about. Wintry mix out there, mainly freezing rain. 28 degrees is what we warm up to. More on the weather in just a bit. In the meantime, Ksan News at 10 starts right now. Check now at your allergen outlook across the Concho Valley. Yesterday, pretty high up there at 6.9. We have come down today, 4.5 because of the cloud cover and the drizzle in the area. And then as we look forward into tomorrow, 0.9. We're going to see more measurable amounts of precipitation in the form of freezing precipitation out there. So be very cognizant of that. And that's why we're going to see those numbers drive down with juniper into the atmosphere. How does that extended forecast look? We're going to have a quick check at that in just a bit. In the meantime, here's Isabel with more news. Okay, full weather. Welcome back, everyone. 30th day of January into the books, and we are getting ready to head in toward the end of February, or from about January. Oh, darn, let me start over. Gosh, can't recover. All right, here we go. Retake. Welcome back, everyone. Pretty much getting ready to wrap up the month of January into the books, and we are getting ready for the month of February, and January is going out with a bang. Let's show you what's happening into tomorrow, as we are expecting freezing precipitation throughout the entire day, and you will actually see that those temperatures are not going to see much warmth throughout the entire afternoon as well. We start off with about 27 degrees. Precipitation really beginning to develop, and this will be mainly in the form of freezing rain, sleet, maybe just a few snowflakes across the area. Not much improvement in those temperatures by 10 o'clock. Only 27 is where we're continuing to stay at. And then 28 degrees as we warm up a degree or two as we make our way in toward lunch and latter part of the day. And still lots of precipitation out there. So be careful that when we're talking about extended periods of freezing precip like that, some of that could actually cause all sorts of problems with power lines becoming to come down, as well as all sorts of issues when you're traveling. So be cognizant of that. Continue to watch what's going on around you as far as closings across the area, because I have a feeling that tomorrow will be affected tremendously across the entire Concho Valley. As we check and see what's happening with our temperature trend over the next several days, we will notice 30 degrees is what we topped off today. Icy conditions are, of course, continuing into tomorrow with that 70% chance. We're not going to get above freezing, so anything that is, of course, in the frozen variety is going to stay that way into the overnight hours, causing problems into Wednesday when we actually do warm up to 37. Now, before we get to that 37, we're going to see some freezing cold temperatures, and so therefore that precip could be in the form of actually snow, sleet, and ice and things like that. So be very careful as well, even in toward Wednesday. Thursday looks much better, 49 for a high, 40% chance of rain, showers beginning to wind up, and then more sunshine and less clouds as we make our way in toward Friday, in toward the weekend. As we check the weather headlines over the next several days, it's going to be a pretty much cold rest of the week as we move forward in time. Freezing rain will be the main threat, particularly today and then tomorrow, tonight rather, and into tomorrow, and even in toward Wednesday, the first part of it. And then below freezing is definitely the norm, where temperatures are going to stay pretty chilly throughout the entire period, and then an improvement expected by the time we head toward the weekend. As far as wind speeds go, we are of course talking about those winds kicking up out there at about 10 to 15 mile per hour range. Doesn't take a lot to make it feel a lot colder out there to expose skin. So keep in mind, you don't bundle up for the actual air temperature, you bundle up for what what that wind is doing to those temperatures. So it's driving them down. You got to be careful out there and make sure you wear plenty of layers because it is continuing to be cold out there across most of the area. Checking now the big satellite radar imagery, you will notice off to the west that area of low pressure spinning counterclockwise will move to the east, and as it does, it will eject energy, bringing, of course, opportunities for freezing precipitation for us, more concentrated than what we saw today and tonight. That actually is going to increase as we go throughout the period. Now, as we check and see what's happening with our temperature forecast, we're checking. I don't think I gave you 3 minutes. My clock went off. Got to cue this back up. My fault. Why did I do this? One more time from the top. I'm sorry. I could tell there was a problem. Welcome back, everyone, on this 30th day of January, making our way toward February very soon, but tomorrow looks to be very chilly out there and the chance of more freezing precip across the region. 27 to start the morning off. 27 is what we're going to continue throughout the 10 o'clock hour. Then we warm up to about 28 as we make our way toward the latter part of the afternoon, and then we'll probably top off right around 30 degrees. But you'll notice lots of precipitation out there. You want to be very careful out there because, of course, if you're traveling on the roads and highways, allow plenty of distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Also plenty of time to allow your destinations because it looks like the entire day tomorrow is going to be packed with opportunities for that freezing rain and sleet across the area. So be very careful out there. Temperature trend over the next several days. We will actually notice that things do actually improve toward the latter part of the forecast period, but in here into tomorrow, probably the most diciest of days to look forward to. 30 for a high. We're not going to get above freezing, so we're going to continue to see that 70% chance of freezing precipitation, and then 90% into Wednesday. We're going to start off with probably freezing rain and sleet, and then get over to rainfall by latter part of the afternoon as we top off with those temperatures right at about 37 degrees. Then on Thursday, 40% chance of rain stays in the forecast. Then we warm up to about 49, 57 on Friday, and we start to see more sunshine and less in the form of clouds. Check now at your weather headlines. We're going to see a very cold rest of this week to look forward to. Make sure you bundle up over the next few days because it's going to stay pretty much on the freezing side of things into about the next couple of days, and then we're actually going to see some warmth in toward the weekend. Freezing rain will be the main threat. Be careful out there. Freezing rain doesn't take a lot of it to cause all sorts of problems, and it's going to stay below freezing as the norm throughout the entire period, pretty much until about Thursday, or Wednesday rather, when we see those temperatures actually warm up a little bit more. An improvement by the weekend, we all are ready for that. As we check into our wind speeds, we're actually going to show you that things are not too bad out there, but 10 to 15 mile per hour winds definitely can make exposed skin feel very cold out there. So make sure you bundle up and make sure you take care while you step outside. Low pressure off to the west. This is what will come over to the east, and as it does, kick off some impulse energy across our area, giving us opportunity for some freezing rain and sleet and snow. Here are the temperatures over the next several hours into tonight. We're going to see a drop into pretty much what it's at right now, so we're not going to see too much of a change in temperatures. What we are going to see a change in is the precipitation type and the increase of it. Over the next 24 hours, we will see definite improvements in the bands of ice get together and definitely some travel problems out there across the area. So for tonight, 27 for the overnight low, 40% chance of that wintry mix. For tomorrow, 70% is what it picks up to. 30 degrees for the high, clouds and very cold throughout the entire day. 5 to 7 day forecast. Groundhog Day is when we look for the precip to finally end. 40% chance of rain there, 49 for a high, and then warming up as we make our way toward the weekend and into Monday of next week. That's the weather. We're going to come back after the break with Isabel and more news. All right, final weather. Final check of that 7 day forecast. 30 degrees for tomorrow, not getting above freezing. 70% chance of freezing rain, sleet and snow. 90% on Wednesday. It turns over to rain by late afternoon. Temperatures warming up to 37. 49 on Groundhog Day and a 40% chance of rain there. 57 on Friday. Clearing skies on Saturday and Sunday. Back into the 60s and looking forward to some nice weather. That's the forecast. Isabel, back to you. There we go.